Okay, today we are doing a pint cover for ice cream. I did this video once already, and I had a question of, can you show me the entire thing or have a written pattern? Well, this is my written pattern. It's quite a mess, and I will walk you through this today and show you all the different parts of it and how it works. And we're going to do an entire real-time video on this, so it may take a few rounds to do it. I don't have an ice cream jar, so I have a couple of pint jars. This one has all my stitch markers in it, and I'm just getting set up. So here we are. Here is my 3.5 hook. I say 3.25. I cannot find it, so 3.5 is fine. If you have a 4.25, which is a G, this should work. This should be an F, I think. I have my business cards in case you want to go and check out my website. It is wildlyartisticliving.art.blog, and these are my business cards there. And here is my Wildly Artistic Crochet Hat Patterns book, and it has the website here. It is on Amazon. It is $1 a pattern for these different patterns, and I've got a hat sizing chart, I've got loom knitting chart, and I've got some basic introductions, abbreviations, all the things. So I tried to put as much of this together as I could. I've got several triple step hat, and I think it's a shell hat. Gotta remember the exact name. Anyway, there's several hats in here. There's 11 patterns, and this is $14.99 on Amazon and $7.99 for the ebook version. So there's that. But today we're going to be doing a pint cover. Okay, so this is for your little pints, the individual ice cream containers. You can put it over a mason jar like this and have your soup or anything else that you've canned. You can have your fruit parfait in here and have it in the fridge and have this over it. So that is what we're working on today. We're going to come in a little closer, and basically I'm just recording from the very beginning today. I didn't set a lot up beforehand, so y'all get to see all the pre-recording stuff. But as I set it up, I talked you through it. So there we go. There's the little cards. Link tr.ee/Sarah V. Garrett will get you to my link tree, which takes you to all my different links. But wildlyartisticliving.art.blog is also my main website. So let's get started on our pint cover. Now the first thing is we are going to do a magic circle. If you cannot do a magic circle, you do 3 chains, you do your slip knot, and you chain 3, and you go back into the first one to make your circle. And then from then on, you'll be working in the center of that, which I like the magic circle because that center is tricky to find. But honestly, you could just go in that first stitch and use that as your center. It's not going to work out perfectly if you're doing amigurumi, but it will work out if you're doing hats or just coasters or things like that. So you can do the 3 stitches. You could even do a 4th stitch to try to find the center better. But right now we're going to do a magic circle. So we're going to go over, loop over, and pull it through. And I would suggest watching some more videos on magic circle if you're having trouble with that one, because or just do the 4 stitches And now I've made it where I want to change this video already and edit that out. But anyway, let's just do the magic circle, and we're gonna go 1, 2, you do 2 chains, and then you are going to do 6 singles in your magic circle. So 1, should I get closer? Let's get this out of the way and get a little closer. Okay. I'm going to do 1 single, 2 singles, 3 single crochet. This is the 4th one, and this is the 5th. And 6 is your last. So since you've got the magic circle, you can pull this string and you make your circle. Let's pull this out just a tad. And then you slip stitch into that right there. Now if you don't do the magic circle, once again, you can do 3 or 4 chains and just work out of that. Now in the magic circle, we want a stitch marker in that first stitch that we're using. Let's see, let's get a green one to match our hook. And what you're going to do is you're going to put it in this stitch that's on your hook, in the yarn that's on your hook. And you can kind of flop it to the back. Now we are going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch, okay? So you're coming out of this one here, you're going to get right in here in the very next one and do 1 and 2. Do single crochet, 1 and 2. Now I will take the time to type this up and get it on something, maybe a free download. I just have not had the time to do it yet. And to me, it's easier to do a video repeat with better instructions than it is to take the time to do that right now. With everything going on, this is where I'd rather be. So I hope that is okay for y'all. And I'm gonna have to look and see who it was. I don't remember your YouTube name. That wanted these instructions a little clearer. Okay, so this should be 12 stitches. And if it's not exactly 12 stitches, there's always accommodations for that. But we're going to count anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 13. So let's undo 1 just to make it just right. Okay. So we only have 1 in that last one, and that is probably because this one comes out right there. So let's slip that together for now. And now we're going to start the continuous. And we're going to move our stitch marker to this same one on your hook. And whether you put it in the front or back, it doesn't matter, because you can slide it over your hook if you need to. You can work with it in the front if it's easier. It's easier for me to work with it in the back. Now the next row that we're going to do is 1, 2. Now that means 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets all the way around. Okay? So we're just going to do that. We're going to go right into the next stitch. We're going to do 1. The next stitch we're going to do 2. 1 and 2. We're going to do 1 and 1, 2. Okay, and this is going to increase. The 2 is your increase. Okay, so 1 you're going to increase, so that's 2. And that way your circle is going to get bigger, and as it does, your rows are going to get larger all the way around, all the way out. And you'll see what happens on the next row. So on that first row, we did 2 singles in each stitch. That was an increase all the way. This one we're doing 1 and then 2. And 1 and 2. And I picked red because July is coming up, right around the corner basically. And then the last one we're going to do 1, and right where the stitch marker is, we're just going to go ahead and do 2. You can work right around that stitch marker and just ignore it. You want to keep these stitches pretty tight. If they're loose, it's probably because you have a looser hand, and in the end, if you want it looser, that is fine as well. Now the next row, we are going to do 1, 1, 2. So on my pattern it says 1, 1, 2. Now I've got these to show the in-betweens. So we're going to do 1 stitch, increase. Okay, so we have 1, 1, and 2. And the way I usually count it is 1, 2. So 1, 2, and then 2 in this one. I know that might not make sense, but that's just how I end up doing it. Even though it's 1, 2, 2, I know it's 1, 1, 2. Okay? Because it's 2 singles and then 2 in the same for the increase. I hope that makes sense. I've never seen another pattern for this, or these circles really, except for the diagrams. I am not diagram drawing these days, so my little written pattern is going to have to do for me. 1 and 2, and then we have 1 single, 1 single. Oops. And your hook sometimes gets caught up in your yarn and splits it, but that's just yarn. And 1 with the increase, which is 2. And then we're going to go 1, 1, and increase. Okay, then we're going to take our stitch marker and move it to where we are. Now, when you're doing it this way, you are going to avoid the line in the back. If you were to close your circle off each time with a slip stitch and a chain 1, okay, you're just going to have a line going across your work. And so by doing it this way, we avoid the line, so your work won't have the back side of it. When you're holding it on the outside, it'll all look the same all the way up. Okay, so this one is 1, 2, 3, 2. So we're going to do 1 single, 1 single, and 1 single. Yep, I don't think I got through the whole right. And then we're going to do 2 singles. So we're doing 3, 2 this time. The 2 on this one is the increase. You do the entire round the same. So you go 1, 2, 3, and then 2. And see, the stitch marker is there to let you know it's time to change to the next row, because you don't have a chain to connect to slip stitch into. So you have 1, 2, 3, and increase. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, and increase. 1, 2 in the same stitch. That increase is always in the same stitch, and some patterns just say single crochet, increase. So that's what we're doing here. We're doing a single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and increase, which is 2 single crochets. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I'm pulling my yarn out of the bowl a little bit so it's easy to get to. And then we're going to do the last one is 1, 2, 3, and then we want 2 in this one for our increase. And your stitch marker kind of gets in the way a little bit. That one actually hooked the yarn, but when you pull it tight, it's fine. It's just there. Okay. Now the other thing about this, with just going around without the chain and the slip stitch together, you've got a continuous circle. It's a continuous ring. And I did just pull this a little tighter because it had opened up a little bit. And see, you have no hole in the center. And to me, that's the benefit of doing the magic circle. It has been worth learning, especially for the top of a hat. I really like that in the top of a hat, that there's no extra big circle. Now we're going to move this, and we're in number 4. So we've got 4 and 2. Okay, we've got 4 singles and then an increase. You want enough yarn there on your hook, and then you want to do 1 single, 1 single, 1 single, and you're in, no, 4. Whoops, I almost did it wrong. So 1, let me pull that out. I lost count, so I pulled it out. And if you move your stitch marker each time, that's the benefit. You can't pull it out any farther. So I can start that row over with my stitch marker, keeping it in there. So now we're going to do 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. I was counting it different than I normally do, and so that messed me up. So we're going to count the way I always do now, is 4 and 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. Now this is just the way I do it, so if you find another way that's easier to do your counting, go ahead and do that, because you need to do what works for you. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. 2 is the increase. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we have an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me not get that in there. 4 and an increase. So when you're going right under the stitch marker, that is your last stitch of that round. So let's move this out a little bit more. And let's move the stitch marker. It's getting a little bit larger than the screen was showing, I think. Now these hook kind are the best ones. I have some that just swirl around, and those do not work as well. Sorry about that. Most of the time I do my rearranging of the camera when it is off. So today I'm just doing a real-time video to show y'all kind of how it works. Now we are on the 5th round of increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We did 12 rounds on that one. Yeah, we did 6 singles and then we did 2 singles for the increase. So this is actually the 6th, so this is the 7th row total. So have you a drink, and let's get on with the 7th row. We're going to do 5 singles and then an increase. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase, which is 2 in 1. 2 stitches in the same hole. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 stitches in the same hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and increase. See, my yarn is pulling because I haven't pulled any out of the bowl. Now another thing, if you are a beginner and your stitches are going slower than this, please just pause the video and don't get frustrated. Just keep going with your single crochets on the pattern that we talk about, because I do go a little bit fast on singles and the stitches here. I am going a little bit faster than if I were doing a beginner video. So if you are a little slower than me on these stitches, just pause the video and don't feel bad about it, because your project is going to be just as beautiful when you're done. Okay? So we're going to continue with our 5 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and increase. So that is 2 in one space. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to take this little stitch marker out and do 2. 1 and 2. Okay, that is the end of the increase rounds. And just for perspective here, your pint jar is actually a little smaller than that. But your pint ice cream is a little bigger on the bottom than a pint glass jar. I don't have any right now to compare, so we'll just have to go with that. We are going to put our stitch marker into here, into our yarn that is on the hook. Okay, and if you need to right now, this is a good point to pause the video and just catch up if you've been a little slow on your stitches than I am. I did go pretty fast on this, so this is a good coaster if you want to slip stitch and pull it through. It's a perfect little coaster. And you could do a set of just this part of the video and make coasters if that's what you wanted. This is not a coaster video, so we're going to go with the ice cream. Ice cream container for the summer. And I'm going to take an intermission. Okay, intermission. We went and checked out the last video about these. And who I'm doing this for is Beamish 5979. My first video was too fast and I just skipped through the rows, and so now we are going into the round that goes up. Okay, so I hope this video is much better on the real time. So we have our stitch marker in. We've done all the increases that we're going to do. And we walked through all of those together this time. And now we are going to start going up for the side. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go in the next stitch in the back loop only. So your stitch has a front loop here and a back loop right there. Okay, so you've got 2 loops in each stitch. If you go into one stitch, you've got 2 loops on your hook in that stitch. So we're going to go into the back loop only and do a single crochet. And we're just going to do 1 stitch all the way around, back loop only. Okay, so this is going to create a little line right here all the way around. So here we go with back loop only. And there's not really any counting here because we have our stitch marker, so that takes away some of the pressure of trying to count. Whoop. And just remember, if your yarn gets hooked up on your hook or it splits, just kind of pull it and, you know, fix it to the side. It'll be fine. Some yarn splits a little easier than others. This is Red Heart yarn, Red Heart brand. Red Heart is my favorite unless I'm doing something with natural fibers and soft. I've learned it's a little coarser, but I do love it. So just remember, this is back loop only, and you can see the little line that's forming here all the way around. I hope you can see that. There's a little line that's up above, and you can feel it on your work, that little line that's separate. because you're leaving that front loop to make a line. And once again, if I'm going too fast on these stitches, just pause the video when I get to the end of this and then just catch up with your row or your round. This is not a race, and if you are learning crochet, crochet is a difficult craft, I have found out, and I am aiming to make a little more descriptive videos and make them clearer, because crochet is something that it would be nice if more people were able to do it and enjoy it. I know it's become popular over the last few years with all the content creators, and I know I'm being a content creator with crochet, but I love crochet, and it's something that I'll continue to do even if it was not popular. And I've done it for a lot of years before it became popular. So just make sure you love it. And this is the last one before the hook, because the one with that on it, let's see. No, we'll go one more where that chain marker is, that stitch marker. And there we go. We have a ring all the way around, and it's a spiral, so it doesn't meet on this end. And so it kind of looks like you should go one back, but you can go on the stitch marker. And now from here up, you can either use the stitch marker or not. Okay? Right now we're just going to keep it in, because this one is pretty simple with how we do it. We are going to do 12 single crochets. And 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you want both loops this time because you don't want another ring. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now the reason I'm doing some counting on this row is because I want it to be a little tighter at the top than what my bottom ended up. Okay, so we are going to do 12, and then we're going to skip 1. We're only doing this 3 times throughout this row. This one row is the only one we do it on. Skip 1 and kind of pull it tight there. Okay, then we're going to do 8. So we need to count 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we're going to skip 1 again, which you're just going to skip 1 stitch and go into the next one. And I always like to pull that tight, make sure there's not a hole there that shows. Now this is going to start curving. You can see the curve, and it's curving wrong side out. That is absolutely okay, because for me it's easier to work this direction than it is having it go this direction. So now we did 8, now we're going to do 10. So that was 1, 2, 3, and that 1 was after the skip, okay? I don't know if that was clear or not. Let's go back. Let's take out 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm sorry, we did 8 single crochets and we skip 1, but our counting starts the first one that we do. Okay, that's why I had to do that. So 1, pull it tight, and that's when our counting started. That's why I started with the 2 a second ago. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to skip 1, and then we're going to do 10 singles again. So we're going to skip 1 and count with our 1. So when we skip, we're skipping this open stitch here, going into the very next one. And then we pull it tight, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so you've got 3 stitches left, or 4. You're going to skip 1 and go in this one and do 3. Now this is just so it squishes in a little bit. It curves in a little bit. Now from here out, there's no counting. You see how we have a little tiny bowl. This is the wrong side. This is the inside. And so when you turn it this way, you have a little ledge and you have a little bowl. But we're going to work with it this way. And now we are going to go single crochet all the way around, no line. So we're just going to go completely around and around and around. Now, if you want to mark this spot here, in case you have stitches that mess up later on, you could keep your stitch marker in. That way you can see. But also you can look for your little ledge that you created here in your back loop only stitch, and that is when it changes to going up. So there's, you know, different ways you can tell where you started going up. So we are just going to continue from here and do single crochet all the way around. And I know this is a very long video already, but I wanted to be more clear in the description of how we do this. I want it to be a full tutorial, okay? And we are going to go about 3 inches up. So you just make sure your stitches stay tight and you continue around. And you just keep going. And this is just single crochet all the way. And it won't matter where you hit the part where you had your stitch marker, because it's not going to show anymore. If you really want to find it, you can find where your little ridge doesn't meet. So you could kind of know where that was. That really won't matter. We are going to keep going around and around. And the reason you want it to be a little larger on the bottom, we could have done 1 row less, but when you do that, it's very tight, and sometimes it's hard to get it on the ice cream container, and we want it to fit comfortably and loose. We want it to be easy to go on. That way it's not a struggle to put it on. You just hold it and it stays on there. Nope, don't want to get extra rows of yarn under there. Now I have this bowl that I use most of the time for my yarn. My husband would turn it, and there's a little tiny crack right there that I don't really bother with. It doesn't bother me at all. But he couldn't sell it, so I started using it for yarn. And that is the perfect size. And yesterday, well, first of all, before I tell you about yesterday, you can use any plastic bowl, any ceramic bowl, any bowl that you want, any basket that doesn't hook your yarn while you're working. You can use any of those things. Sometimes I use a bag, and that just holds my yarn to the side while I'm working. So you can use pretty much anything if you have a ball of yarn to work from. And I normally ball mine up to use, that way I don't have to deal with detangling while I am crocheting, because then I'll get irritated. Because when you have to detangle the skein, I don't really like that very much. I like to do that separately, and then when I'm crocheting, I like to just crochet. And if you have a ball to work with, it works much better. But the story about yesterday, I went with a friend, and we went to go do some pottery on the wheel for the first time ever. I've wanted to do that my whole life. I knew I would do it one day, maybe. I thought I would take a class at the college. But we found a man who teaches it in our town. And he's a town over, but he's close enough. And him and his wife teach pottery. And they sell pottery. And they have classes. And it was so fun. We went and we turned on the wheel a piece of pottery. We had our first class, and we'll have to go back when it dries after he does the kiln the first time. We'll go back and glaze it, and then they'll do the kiln again. So I will have a bowl. I made a yarn bowl, not with a hook, just a round bowl, just kind of like this one, about that size. And I'm just going to have a yarn bowl. I'm really excited about it. And I made it on pottery wheel. It's just awesome. If you have that opportunity and the desire to go do that, I would definitely suggest it. It was so worth it. And he does have to charge for it, because you're taking his time and materials. But it was amazing. And my first bowl, I completely flopped. So I did have to start over. But it was definitely worth taking a class for. Just saying. It was very fun. It was about 2 hours. And then we go back and glaze. I'm assuming it'll be another, at least an hour to do that part. And on that note, if there's anything that you want to learn that you've wanted to do for many years, go do it. Find someone who teaches it. Go have the fun of doing that craft you've been wanting to do. This has got about an inch. We got a little ways to go. I'm just going to keep on here and let y'all crochet while I crochet. I watch crochet videos all the way through. So, of other people doing projects, even when they're long, Can't even tell you how many I've watched like that. I might work on the same project, or I might work on a different project while they're doing it. So we are just going to keep going up. And this might be one of the longest videos I've put out. I don't know. Now there's two versions at the end. You can make it straight, or you can make it have a ruffle on it. The ruffle is a fun one with red, especially. It just looks really pretty. And if you have to stop this video and do something else, or have an errand or something to do it on a different day, finish your project, you know. I don't always do a project in one day. And that's fine. You can always stop it and come back. YouTube is great about keeping something where you are. That's how I do my audiobooks. And YouTube always keeps your place on a video. The only difference is usually when I'm crocheting a lot, I do sit on the couch, not back here at my table. So that's another difference. And this project is a great single crochet practice. Like if you need to practice your single crochets, it's a really good one to do because you're doing a lot of single crochets. I don't have those fancy hooks that counts it for you. I've seen them. They're really cool. But I just have these on my old stainless steel hooks. And these things have saved my hands. I can crochet for a long time with these without it hurting. Once you've grasped, held on to this tiny hook for a while, your hands do start to hurt. But this is a really great project to do to practice your single crochet. You see how I'm just kind of moving it as I go. So you have a line to work with, a flat place right here. And just kind of move it as you go. Keep doing those singles. And that's basically the rest of the pattern. It says round, single crochet in the round until you reach 3 inches to 3.5 inches tall. That's what I wrote down there, because the little pint containers of ice cream are about 3 inches tall. And if you have it a little bit taller, you can fold it over at the top. Okay, we're going to pause there for a second. We're going to turn it right side out. And we are going to pop our jar in there. This is a little bit big for the jar, but once you're holding it, look there, and there's where our little ledge difference comes. See, it's a little big for the jar, but some of the ice cream containers are wider than the glass jars, especially at the top. They kind of go at an angle, so that's why. But I don't have any of those right now to show you. So we're getting up there. Got to keep going. And you have a little bowl here. If you want to make a flat bowl, that's how you do it. you make your bottom, and it can be a change bowl or something on the table. You can make a fruit bowl like that if you make it a lot bigger, you know, and it's kind of stiff because you're doing tight single crochets. So let's keep going, and it's way easier for me to turn it wrong side out. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to keep going for a few more minutes. I don't know how many more minutes it's going to take to get up there. If you need a drink or a break, just go right ahead and do that. Get some yarn pulled out here. And we're just going to keep on going. I wish I had a pint ice cream to show you in the end of this video. At least, but I don't unless I go get some. I very much could have done this live, but I have discovered that on a live video, all the comments that happen during the live completely disappear when you post it. So you can't go back and see who commented during your video and go follow them or anything. Like, I couldn't go back and follow the people that followed me in the live video that I did because I couldn't see their names at all once the video was posted. Maybe I'm missing something and I don't know how to go do it. But for right now, I'm just going to do these and just make a long form video because I like to know, you know, if the lady who commented, Beamish, if she had commented on a live video, I would not been able to have gone back and find her to answer her question or anything and tag her or respond later. We've had a lot going on in our life right now, and I have not been able to get on as soon as I wanted to. So I'm glad that that video was not live. And until I figure that out, I may not do live videos unless they're just fun things. Because a tutorial doesn't need to be a live video. We are getting around here. This one takes a little while. Not too long. It's just an hour or two, I think. Maybe 3. We've been going a little over an hour, I believe. This is going to be a long video. If you want to zip past all of this and go to the end, feel free to do that. It's going to be right in the last minute probably. And maybe I'll put that on the screen when we start going up. That way some folks who don't want to watch the entire video can skip to the end after you get to the top, like where you're going up. Skip to the end. If you know that reference, please put it in the comments. That reminded me of something. Skip to the end. Yep, it's a movie I need to watch again. One of my favorites. Haven't watched it in quite some time. I may have to comment what that movie is and recommend it to people soon. That's a good movie. It's funny. I saw it as a teenager the first time, so. Anyway, we are about, oh, we're getting real close, aren't we? Let's pull that out and try this out. Is that 3 inches? Boop. Oh, it's pretty good and tall there. I guess that's why I say 3.5. But once you get your ice cream on it, see, this is wrong side out. It's still pretty wrong side out. We'll go another couple rounds. It's a little bit, still not quite there. Go a little bit longer. And if I finish before you and you have to keep going, that is absolutely fine. I would love to hear in the comments how you've enjoyed this video. If you want more of these kind of videos that are real time, please put that in the comments. Because sometimes I think I want to do that kind of video, but I'm just not sure people would watch it all the way through, and if I need to record the whole thing. But I think this might have helped if I had done it this way the first time. Because I'm not one of those flashy, fun videos, really. I like doing a straight tutorial. I make some pretty things, but I like to do a straight tutorial. So, here we are. We're getting close to the end. Sometimes I go faster when I'm getting close to the end. When it's all one same stitch, it makes it where I want to hurry up, hurry up. I'm not sure if I should put a ruffle on this one or not. This one's probably for myself. Maybe I should go ahead and do a ruffle. That will take a little bit longer. Whoop, I came out of all of it. Going a little too fast. Okay, let's see where our beginning is. And this ridge is all the way on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit more. Try to get around to the other side. Whoops, I can't even hold my hook right. And if you hold it right, it twists around that yarn just right. Sometimes you have to turn it just a little bit for it to come out right. There we go. There we go. We are getting there. It's not going to be right on it, but I'm going to stop around here in just a minute. That's probably pretty close enough. Or is it? No, it's still a good ways. Let's go right to here. Well, right to there. About. You don't have to do that, but I like to kind of keep it right where it came from. Keep it in the same area. Let's see, is that about it? Yeah, pretty close. We're gonna slip stitch this down. So they're gonna pull that through there. Now, if this is for a man or you don't want a ruffle, you are done with that. And you would cut your yarn and tie it in and be done. And this will fit your ice cream just fine. Okay? I am going to put a ruffle on this. So we're about to do that. And that's it. See, we stopped about right there. It's not exactly, it's a couple stitches off, but it's good. But let's make a ruffle, because I want a ruffle on mine for the summer. And the ones I made in the previous video, I gave away for Christmas. So we are going to chain 3. You're going to put 2 double stitches. Now you're going to need double crochet for this. Okay? Put 2 double stitches in the same stitch that you came out of with the chain. And then you're going to do 3 double crochets in every stitch all the way around. 3 double crochets. So if you don't know the double crochet yet, you'll have to learn the double crochet first. Not quite going over that slow enough to teach it right now. That series of videos will be coming soon, hopefully. I've had a lot of people in my physical world request some super basic beginner videos on each stitch and each step. So that is going to be coming soon. This ruffle is a double crochet. We are going to do 3 each stitch, which it takes a little longer than the regular round. Oops, almost lost it there. I hope y'all are having an amazing year so far. It is April. Whoops. We've had a lot go on, and it's only April. So, it's going to be a good year, though, I think. See what happens? Okay, this will probably help if this is not in my way. I have to work with it wrong side out. So we are doing double crochets. You see how the ruffle is coming out? A pretty nice little ruffle there. I like it. And this is good for the winter if you have soup in your quart jar. You could make it one, not your quart jar, your pint jar. You could make it 1 row smaller in the beginning. And do like the 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just do it 1 smaller. I think that's 3. Yep, that's 3. When you're doing this many in there, you have to check. Or sometimes you'll just have an extra one. Or not enough. So if you've watched this video so far, all this way, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking and commenting. It does help my channel grow. And I do really love doing these videos for y'all. And if there's any specific video you would like, just post it in the comments and I will try to get to it as quickly as possible. I really like doing things that y'all actually want. I don't do a lot of amigurumi videos, the cute little animals, because that is not my forte. I can make some, but they're not the best. Some of my stuff is super cute actually, but some of it, not so much. They don't all turn out. So, I'm not going to do videos on stuff that I am not accomplished in, because it just doesn't, you can't teach something you don't know very well. And there's obviously some tips and tricks that I do not know about. Tips and tricks. Was that a tongue twister, or was I just, messing up my words? Tips and tricks. I know plenty of those for hats, but not for amigurumi. I do blankets, bags, and sweaters for the majority of my crochet. I do love doing coasters and pretty things and all the little things I've done videos on, though. I love doing stash busters. But I have about 5 different sweater patterns that I want to do. Styles, maybe, not patterns, that will be coming up soon. I don't know about soon, because I'm only one person to crochet all these patterns and projects. And right now I have I have 2 big projects in the middle of that are not being recorded. I made an outfit for my little great nephew coming soon, and I did not record that. Made another baby sweater. I didn't record that one. So I don't record all the crochet that I do. It's just not feasible. But if there's anything that y'all would like to see, just let me know. Be happy to oblige. Just a little bit left here. We're going to have a super cute ruffle. 2 and 3. I was going to do this in a different color, but I didn't think the ball was big enough. Now I'm very glad that I used the red. If y'all have hung around this far, y'all are loyal friends. I love it. I hope y'all are having a fantastic day. I hope y'all are learning some crochet and having fun with it. And I just hope you have a great summer coming up. And 1, 2, almost done. 3, and 1. And if I'm not mistaken, this is an 1.5-hour video. So I hope this has been accomplished for you as much as it has for me, because I got a project done, and if you watch this whole video, maybe you got a project done too. Awesome! How cool is that? And then we slip stitch this together at the very end, and now we're going to cut our yarn. We're going to cut it up here so we have little to work with. We are going to pull this through. And that closes off the ruffle. I'm going to take a large yarn needle. Now you can use the plastic ones. I prefer the stainless steel. I have 2 different sizes that I use for yarn, and this one is the smaller one. Now we're going to pull this yarn right down in here. I'm going to get rid of these tails. And then let's go right down here, about 4 stitches. You want to go 3, 4, 5 stitches. And what we're going to do is a trick I've learned recently. You go back up the same area. Okay, but you make sure you loop around something at each end. Sometimes these needles don't want to pull through very easily. So you make sure you loop around. Don't go in where it came out, because you might get it right through. And you go a 3rd time. A 3rd pass through the same area. And then you just clip it off right there. Now let's get this one. See, this is the wrong side out. And we're going to pull that tight. Don't pull too hard, because you can break your yarn. I have done that several times. We're going to go around the circle and then go out of the circle. And we're going to go back. We're going to do it around 3. So this is number 2. We're going to make 3 passes at least. Go here. This is the 3rd pass. Straight line. Loop around something at the end. Now for me, this is the wrong side. Some people may like this side the best, but I think this side of the stitches is so much prettier. So let me zoom out a little bit. And let's get our jar. And it's a little big on the jar, but look at that, it's so pretty. And you've got your little thing. And now a pint ice cream is a little fatter at the top, so this will fit just right, and you can kind of pull it up, and with that ruffle you have something to kind of catch your hand on, and you can hold your ice cream. I hope this has been a great video for y'all. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope to see you back on the next one, and have a great day. Bye bye.